So joining us now is former Assistant U.S. Treasury Secretary and former PIMCO Managing Director turned California Republican gubernatorial candidate, Mr. Neel Kashkari. Neel, welcome back to the show. You know, I was reading some of your stuff here. I know you haven't put out detailed papers, but you're talking a lot about jobs and education. Okay, great. I got a jobs thing I want to put on the table for you. Okay. California should go into oil and gas, shale, fracking. You've got the resources. That's a tremendous, look at North Dakota, which is not so far from California. Why don't you make that an issue?
Larry, you're singing my tune. It's great to see you. Thanks for having me. Oil and gas is the single biggest jobs potential here in California, bar none. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of good jobs, and we can do it while protecting the environment. We can absolutely do both, and that's going to be a big part of my plan. I'm with you 100%.
I mean, there was a time when California was a leading oil-producing state. And you're right, those are very high-paid jobs. I mean, again, if you go out to the Dakotas, you're talking $80,000, $100,000 jobs for the, the field people, the roustabouts and whatnot. Is Jerry Brown, he's probably not even on his radar screen.
Once again, this is classic Jerry Brown. He talks about it. He moves a little bit, but nothing really happens. And so he's getting some flack from the left because they want him to ban fracking completely. He's not willing to do that, but he's also not willing to open it up and really create good jobs. And so we have to move aggressively. There's no sense of urgency. California has 17% of the population with either no job or stuck in a part-time job. We have the 5th highest unemployment rate in America, and there's no sense of urgency. We need to put people back to work.
One of your other issues is education, and you're saying that California ranks, near the bottom, 46th in education, if my numbers are correct. So I got this Sandinista mayor here in New York City who's just stopped 3 or 4 charter schools, even though they're outperforming the public schools. What's your take on charter schools? What's your take on vouchers and school choice?
We need to give parents as many choices as possible. I'm outraged, and I don't know why the Democratic establishment is not outraged by what de Blasio is doing in New York City. It's ridiculous. He's basically punishing poor black and brown kids who are just trying to get a good education. We need to give parents of every ethnicity choices in where they send their kids to school. Larry, my family is a family of immigrants. I got one gift from my parents, the gift of a good education. I want every kid in California to get that good education. And if that means a charter school, so be it. If that means a great traditional public school, so be it. We need to give parents choices.
Well, I mean, the question is, can you take some public money and help the charter schools? Is it privately, which has also been done here in New York City? I mean, before de Blasio, and de Blasio is going to lose this, I guarantee you, he's going to lose this to public opinion. Charter schools, New York's been a pathbreaker for charter schools. And if you can do it here, as I said, this is a blue state, you can do it out there.
No, absolutely. We actually have a lot of charter schools in California, too, and I like charter schools. I want to encourage more charter schools, but I also want to fix the traditional public schools because charter schools require that there's a mom or dad who's thoughtful enough and engaged enough to decide to send their kids to that charter schools. Some parents aren't that involved or don't know enough about these school choice issues, so we have to fix the traditional public schools, too, but I think charter schools are part of the whole solution.
All right. The other one, of course, I'm going to raise a point about taxes. Governor of Texas, Rick Perry, has made a national tour. He calls it the Texas model. They have no income tax. They also have created, half the jobs in America in the last 4 or 5 years. You got, a 13.5% top state income tax? Even by New York standards, that's a high tax. What's your tax policy going to be, Neel?
Look, our taxes are too high in California, way too high. They're poorly designed. They're destroying jobs. And we're not getting our money's worth for the taxes that we're collecting. I want to start by putting people back to work. If we lower our unemployment rate, have a lot more taxpayers in California, then we're going to be in a strong position to reform our tax code and ultimately lower our tax rates. I want to start with putting people back to work, and then step 2 is lowering our taxes.
Aren't you losing people to Nevada once again, and yes, to Texas and other states like that? I mean, do you have the luxury of waiting a couple years?
Look, it's a huge issue. You're absolutely right. People are leaving the state. Jobs are leaving the state. Rick Perry comes here. I don't see Jerry Brown going to Texas and saying, hey, bring your factories to California, because they would laugh at him. We have to make California's economy competitive, bring manufacturing jobs to California, grow our economy, put people back to work. Then I think a lot with our state, bringing our tax code back, making it reasonable again.
All right. We'll leave it there. Many thanks, Neel Kashkari. Appreciate it. Good luck on the campaign tour.